Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show. I hope you all got your coffees ready, and
Oh crap!
you all got your coffees
Ha,
ready. And
Forgot to
all
put my
right.
deal on silent.
Anyways, we have. Anyways, Eric is backstage patiently waiting, and I'm going to go through the disclaimer, and we're going to get into it. We're going to be talking about ghost ships, Bermuda Triangle, all kinds of weird stuff that's been happening for a long time now, and try to figure out what's going on. So, and we might get into some other weird stuff today. So, just hang with us. I'm not feeling 100%. So, those of you that watched the podcast last night, we had an excellent show, but I didn't actually get done with everything till about 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So I'm really feeling rough today. So that being said, the disclaimer is this channel, Nighthawk and Eric, this podcast channel, may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976, Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast channel, and of course the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show. Declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for educational purposes, criticism, commentary, news reporting, scholarship and research, and parody, and also entertainment value. Per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. All righty, let me get that off of there. And let's see here. Secrets of the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, now this is some subjects that is very, very sensitive to some people because a lot of people lost relatives in the Bermuda Triangle. There have been numerous aircraft and boat craft that have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, and to this day, they're still trying to figure out why and how. They basically have things set to a couple different possibilities. Okay, and here in a second, I'm going to say hello to everybody too in the chat just to get everybody involved. Let me see here. Let me go to the chat. There's that E.G. Testerman. Roxanne, keep an eye on him. He's getting unruly. Let's see. Ida, good to see you. Roxanne, good to see you. Demaria, good to see you. Let's see. Arizona Raven, good to see you. Let's see. Richard, good to see you. And Stuart, good to see you. Awesome. Good to see everybody this morning. Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle. That's a weird one, guys. And we are definitely going to be getting into some of the subject meat and potatoes of the Bermuda Triangle. But without further ado, let me get somebody in here. Eric, you all right?
Oh yeah, I just pulled up my notes from when I did a show on the Bermuda Triangle, so I've got them handy. I just remembered I had
Okay.
a bunch of notes of disappearances and other stuff, so that's what I was
Well,
actually while you were doing the introduction was pulling that up.
alrighty. They have several theories with the Bermuda Triangle, everybody. They have, well, here, first, let me show you the area that we're talking about. Okay. It's also called the Devil's Triangle. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And it stretches from Bermuda, the Isle of Bermuda, to Puerto Rico, over to Florida, and then back to Bermuda again. It's in basically basically the northern Atlantic region. Okay, if it was a southern Atlantic region, it would be on the other side of Puerto Rico, but it's considered in the northern Atlantic region. Okay, and it spans something like, what is it? How many miles does it span there, Eric? I think it spans over,
Uh,
like, I want to say 500 and some miles in area.
I believe so. I'm trying to take a quick. It's not telling me in my quick notes, so I forgot to put it in there. Yeah, I mean it's large. It is, and it's one of 12. There's actually
Yeah,
12 of these things in the world. This
yeah.
is one of 12.
I actually
Um,
believe there's more than just 12 of them, though, because
mhm,
there's a lot of things going on all over the world, to tell you the truth. And I think there's areas of the world that we haven't explored enough to even figure out if there are other triangles in the areas. So,
mhm.
but with the
Yeah,
Bermuda
because I mean,
Triangle,
one.
yeah, with the Bermuda Triangle, though, it's famous
Mhm,
for missing ships. It's famous for its electronic fog that we've talked about before, which is,
mhm,
I call it a smart fog. And it's famous for the infamous U.S. Navy Flight 19. Okay, missing out of the Bermuda Triangle.
mhm.
So why don't you go ahead and share some of that knowledge you have written down there, Eric, so we can see where we stand with this subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. There's tons of missing things. I mean, some of the most famous and notable ones is the USS Pickering, USS Wasp, USS Wildcat, um, the Rosalie, the Ellen Austin, USS Cyclops, and there's crap tons more than that. So this thing, the
Yeah,
Bermuda Triangle is one of 12. So there's actually 11 more that we know of that they're talking about, and they're in Algerian, the Algerian megaliths, the Mohenjo-daro, the Dragon's Tail, the Hakarulula volcano, Eastern Islands, the South Atlantic anomaly, Great Zimbabwe, the Wharton Basin, the Loyalty Islands, the North Pole, and the South Pole. These are all these triangles are there's six above the equator, six below the equator, and they're all in a line except for two. And that's the North and South Pole. Which, if you study ancient Sumerian, and it talks about the Anunnaki and Enlil who was traveling using portals to travel, fits the description of all these portals. So you've got
right.
time travel going on in these things. You've got people warping from one of the most notable one was that plane, that pilot who somehow time warped from one area to another location. His fuel added up. I mean, everything added up to his story. I mean, he was not making it up because where he was and where he ended up in that short amount of time would have burned a crap ton of time and fuel, and it didn't. He lost radio
Right.
contact. His electronics went nuts. He went into the spiral thing in the clouds. Hey, Kyle. Um, and
Now
so,
remind me of this,
mhm,
though. When it comes to ships like the Cyclops and Flight 19 and
mhm,
all that, these vessels, whether they be it air vessels or sea vessels, have not been found at all.
no, no.
So where did they go?
Mhm. Yeah, they up and vanished like a fart in the wind. I mean, they were just gone. Um, and that's the thing. And
Hmm.
it's not just that. I mean, there's UFO sightings in these things. There's creatures, there's sea monsters sighted in this thing. So the theories of what's going on. I mean, the density of the water. So there's several theories of what happens. One is something's wrong with the electronic atmospheric in there, which jacks with the stuff and causes them to crash or sink. Another theory is something happens with the density of the water, which causes the ship not be able to float more and just all of a sudden drops. Then you got whirlpools, you got UFOs, sea monsters. All this stuff ties into what's supposedly happening. Nobody knows for sure. Absolutely nobody
Right.
knows what is going on in this Bermuda Triangles or any of them. So I
Hmm.
mean, take the USS Pickering in 1799 to in early 1800s. She was part of the Commodore Barry's Commodore Barry's squadron in the Western Indies. Lieutenant Edward Preble commanded Pickering from January through June 1799. So we're talking about things that were wooden, and these weren't even metal. These were wooden ships back
Hmm.
then. And this is what I find
Yeah,
interesting
mass
about.
sails. Yeah, mass
Mm-hmm.
schooners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the British lost their ships along the Bermuda Triangle, otherwise known as the Devil's Triangle. I find it very, very
Mm-hmm.
fascinating how there's so many locations around the world that have the word devil in it, or
Mm-hmm.
Satan, or you know, any some type of dark deity named after it. We have these locations all over the world, and usually it's either ships go missing, or aircraft go missing, and people go missing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, like you said, there's been reports of time travel experiences with going through what they
Mm-hmm.
call electronic fog, with that aircraft, that Cessna, that basically started out in Miami and ended up over the swamp areas of, where was that? That was St. Augustine, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and like you said, the fuel added up to him actually missing time, or making up time, going through
Mm-hmm.
this almost like a tunnel. He said it looked like a spinning,
Yeah.
like the thing behind me here.
Yes.
It looked
Yes.
like
Very
that.
similar to that. Yeah.
So, and that he flew into it, and the next thing he knows, he's got no idea of where he's at. He shoots out of it. He somehow flies back out of it. Um, so it's not a tunnel that's actually closed off. People can exit it wherever they want. But
Mm-hmm.
so apparently he must have exited in enough time to where he wasn't teleported into the future or into the past.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
was
the
in the
theory.
future, but not like a yeah. Not it was in the future, but only a couple hours.
Right. So yeah, it's very, very interesting, how all these locations are named after the devil, or something along that lines. I can't help but think about the Devil's Tower with missing people up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's so many locations. So obviously
Right.
somebody knows something that they're not disclosing, and I wonder who.
Yeah. Roxanne, to answer your question, I have not found any reports of people going missing in the triangle and showing up years later. The only reports of them missing in the triangle coming back was only a short couple hours, and that was planes and boats. And all of them described the same experience. They went into what they called electric fog, into a funnel, a twirling funnel of energy and clouds, and then reappeared somewhere else a couple hours later. Or, well, a couple hours ahead of schedule. Let me rephrase that: a couple hours ahead of schedule.
Now, when we're talking electronic fog, everybody, we're also talking about the fog that I've personally experienced, when we
Mhm.
were outside here locally by where we live. It's a fog that it almost acts like it's alive. It acts like
Mhm.
it's got a purpose, you know.
Right.
And here's some part of it that I actually snapped a picture of, that kind of, it's, you can almost see there's almost a spinning pattern to the front of it.
Mhm.
It looks like there's an X there in the formation of it, and it's almost
Mhm.
like that's an entry point. You know,
Mhm.
And that's what makes it unusual. And the fog that we experienced here, the one night was so dense you couldn't really see into it, but it stopped
Mm-hmm.
at the tree line. Okay, and didn't come out into the open field. It stopped right at the tree line. So it kind of freaks you out when you see something like that. I can't imagine what this pilot was thinking when he flew into it. His instruments must have been going nuts because there's a crispness in
Mm-hmm.
the air, a crackling in the air, like the air has a lot of uh, what do they call it? Kinetic energy, going
Yes.
on, ambient energy, I should say, because it's drawing energy from the ambience around it, the atmosphere around it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Causes all kinds of situations with equipment. So let's see here.
Yeah. And that's a very common report. And that's not just in planes. Hey, freaky. That's in boats and a lot of other stuff. Even equipment on islands are known to go haywire.
Hmm.
So,
I wonder what the locals actually think about the Bermuda Triangle.
they called
Because
it. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Dang, I forgot what it is. Let me see if I got it in here. I'll let you talk. I remember having one time what the locals called it.
I'm just curious because a lot of the indigenous people on islands have certain names for certain things, and they usually try to coordinate the naming of it with the actual event that happens over and over again. Um, so if it was something in the sky that appeared like a UFO, and closing up and taking the craft out of the sky or the ships out of the water, they would have reported it that same way. They would have given it some kind of name, whether it was the sky beings that took the craft or whatnot. They would correlate it somehow with the actual event. So that's why I'm curious as to what they called it. Let's see here.
Even
Now,
Christopher Columbus was known to see lights in that thing. So
yeah,
this is
yeah. In
stuff
fact,
that's
when
been
he,
going on for yeah.
yeah, in fact, for a long time, you heard that Columbus actually had an experience with the lights in the sky and all that from his voyage through the Bermuda Triangle to
Mhm.
get to America. So yeah, that's not uncommon. I'm just kind of curious if there is some kind of an alien connection or if it's just the magnetic area of the area that causes the fog to appear. Just for some reason, and the fog actually teleports people in the future. So
Mhm. Well, and, it's been known by many different names. I couldn't find what the natives called it. I thought I had it in my notes. I didn't. The actual the name Bermuda Triangle was actually coined in a magazine in 1964 by Vincent Gaddis. It has also been known as Devil's Triangle, Limbo of the Lost, the Twilight Zone, and Hoodoo Sea as the other names that it's been known by.
hmm.
So it's got a rich historical history behind it, talking about these things. Um, Flight 19 is a famous one. There's
Yeah.
land disappearances. There's so much stuff that goes on here. But the native people of that area, I can't remember. It was something evil. I remember that. I just can't remember what it's called, and I, for some reason, don't have it in my notes like I thought I did. Um,
Well, the thing is, Freaky's got a question. Could it be swamp gas? No, because there is a what do they call that? There, oh my God, that one area of the Bermuda Triangle where they have the aquatic plant life that's there, and it puts off a gas, and it makes the ship's
oh,
hulls very light, and or no, very, very heavy. Excuse me. It like
Yeah,
pulls the air out from underneath it, and the ship sinks. I can't remember what
yeah,
it was
which is the
called
density
though.
change. Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe that is
and
towards the center, if I remember correctly.
yeah, yeah, I believe so. But they've had that theory. They have, like you said, the whirlpool theory, the rogue wave theory,
Mhm.
and the UFO theory. There's so many theories, but as long as the Bermuda Triangle's been documented history-wise, they haven't really pinpointed the reason as to why all these sea vessels and aircraft are missing and never found.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the indigenous people had stories of people disappearing on land way before Westerners ever got a hint of what was going on in this place. They all described the same thing: lights, weird things in the sky, seas that are calm one second, next second they're violent, thrashing around like Neptune was pissed, or Poseidon was pissed and it caused it an uproar. I mean, this is stuff that is the natives talked about way before Westerners ever came into that area.
Yeah, I know Bermuda, the island itself, has a part of it that is forested a little bit, but they say whenever
Hmm.
you go in there by yourself, you don't come back out. People disappear. Um, and I remember seeing a documentary on that actually happening. And one of the captains there that lives on the Isle of Bermuda that described it as such, where people they enter but they never return. So, and
Yeah.
they're not having any bodies wash up on shore. So, that makes you think, is it a doorway? Is there a hidden doorway there that could
Hmm.
teleport people, you know, in any type of craft, or even when they're walking to another place in time?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, and a lot of these, even the Norse have talked about seeing the Kraken in the Bermuda Triangle. The Norse talk about it as well when they were coming to the Americas way before Christopher Columbus was a twinkle in his daddy's eye. I mean, the Norse were talking about this stuff and talking about the Kraken there. The natives have something that's very similar to what we would call a Leviathan living in the Bermuda Triangle. So I mean,
yeah,
this is very so. Is this things that's taking people and eating them? Possibly. Are they going through other dimensions? Possibly. The theories of what's happening to these people, and I am petting the Wampus Panther, Kyle. Um, the theories of what's going on here is vast. I mean, it's so vast. I'll talk about skies that's clear and it's beautiful. And in the next second, these storms roll in with so much electricity to them that it fries everything in sight. I mean, it's just this is reports. I mean, this is actual
yeah,
documented reports that come out.
yep. And
What are you doing, you
just
lumpy cat?
a lot of the area,
Stuff I keep
you would think that, if it was a geological reason or an environmental reason for
Mhm.
these ships and stuff and aircraft to become missing, they would eventually find it. And they have found several watercraft that have sunk, but they have been sunk, because it was documented. They were documenting
Mhm.
it, and it stunk. So they have a documented history. They're not among the missing list,
No, and they
which
found a lot of planes too.
yeah. So, but like I said, the Cyclops was never found,
Mhm.
and Flight 19 was never found. So it's just
Now,
a mystery.
the rescue ship that went out to help look for Flight 19, that's been found. Uh, but like you said, Flight 19 itself has not. Several of these ships have not. Several of these people
Right.
have not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what it
So
does, what it does do is it reminds me of a lot of the tales of the ghost ships that are around the world too. Like the Mary Celeste, and how about
Mm-hmm.
even the most famous one of all, that was sunk because to Davy Jones's locker. And it escapes me right now. I don't know why.
There's so many of them.
Kyle, yeah, lidar, huh? Well, that's the other thing too. They have done extensive research on the phenomena down there in the Devil's Triangle, the Bermuda Triangle, um, but it's all comes back inconclusive. Nobody can pinpoint exactly why things happen the way they do there. And like Eric
Mm-hmm.
said, there's supposedly 12 of these triangles around the world. I do believe that there is more than that. I
Mm-hmm.
tend to believe that there are 33 of these triangles around the world, and I'm including the Beddington Triangle, the Alaskan Triangle in that, the Great Lakes Triangle in that, because we all know that they're on the Great Lakes. Those of us that lived and grew up around them know that there are ghost ships that are seen on the Great Lakes. Even the Edmunds Fitzgerald has been spotted,
Mm-hmm.
floating along the Great Lakes, Michigan, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's other areas that are triangles too. I just don't think it's very well documented and researched.
Well, and
So,
it's funny you bring up ghost ships because there's plenty of ghost ships that's found in the Bermuda Triangle. That everything is intact, like nothing had happened. There was no um, violence on there. There was nothing. I mean, everything was perfectly in place. The people have just vanished like a fart in the wind.
right,
Yeah.
which
Uh,
leads to abduction of some kind. So,
right. Now, there has also been some reports of ghost ships found where there were sections of the ship that was damaged, which would lead to a tentacle attack, which brings in the theory of the kraken. I mean, there is some of that, but most of it is the ships are perfectly intact, still running. The people just vanished. Did you see about
right,
the Nephilim building pyramids before the floods? Not so much the Nephilims, Kyle. It's the Anunnaki were Lilu, which we know as the devil, traveled through these portals throughout the world, teaching humans how to build pyramids. That is the oldest reported documentations of God type beings building pyramids around the world. That's why they all look the same.
yeah. Let me see here. I'm going to see if I can pull up one of these
Mm-hmm.
videos here and show everybody. Oh, come on.
Yeah, there's some of that too, freaky. High source energy, kind of like a high heat gun, heat ray. Yeah, there's reports of that as well. Yes. Um, oh, you're welcome, Kyle. Yeah. See, a lot of people mistaken. See, a lot of people want to put things on Nephilim all the time, just like they do with the SW. That's a very, very common misunderstanding. Um, Nephilim were just one type of giant. There was several types of giant. Nephilim were just ones created by the fallen angels and humans, which is one of the theories how mermaids came across was they're cursed by God for mating with these fallen angels to be a mermaid. Um, but there's been there's if you study ancient Sumerian with the Anunnaki, you're going to find a lot more of your answers that you thought you knew. You're going to find it in that text, which is way older than anything else we know about. And so that's why I always tell people listen to read your history, study your history. You'll learn a lot because this is all in there. What do mountain beings, beginning trees look like? Ezekiel somewhere.
Okay, let me see
Like
here.
it says 200 giant trees cut down, giants. Yeah.
All right, I got that
Right.
downloading. I've got a short clip downloading right now, so bear with me,
No worries.
everybody. I'll be playing something here. Let's see.
Hello, Angelique. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments where you're doing that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I remember my dad and
Trying
some
to
of his
figure
friends
out.
were all in the Navy in World War II. Yeah. Everything is alive. Absolutely, Richard. Yes. Yes. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Let's build William's channel. This guy is a phenomenon. I mean, he is definitely need to build his channel.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see here.
Mm.
I don't see it.
I already seen that, freaky. Hey, Demos. Well, not only did Gilgamesh tomb twisted, but we gained an artifact that is not of material of this world, which is called the Looking Glass. The Looking Glass is talked about in ancient Sumerian amongst the Anunnaki as an Anunnaki product that allows you to see 11,000 different futures when it's put in a certain energetic place. That was the main reason for going into Iraq, was to obtain that.
Boy, it's taking us time downloading. I might have it by the end of the day. I don't know. Is everybody
Well, that's a
else's
good
internet
point.
going crazy lately?
Well, since I've gotten my Ethernet cable, it's been doing better. It ain't running great, but it's running better. Mine was
Mine
having
keeps
issues
on
last night.
stalling.
It was hard to do research. Mine was doing that last night. Yeah. Parallel reality is absolutely, Richard. I mean, the Mandela effect is a prime example of that. So much things have changed in our time, just our time frame alone. You know, who's to say this hasn't happened before?
All right, let me see here.
So,
come on. I need.
Yep, and I actually have pictures of Gilgamesh in his tomb. I actually have pictures of that. But yeah, he was under Euphrates. The thing is people don't realize back in the time of the Anunnaki, and when the Anunnaki roamed this world, they traveled all over. And a lot of these portals that we talk about, like the Bermuda Triangle, is mentioned in ancient Sumerian. So, I mean, I can't tell you for sure that this history is accurate. I can just say it's talked about a lot. Hey, Corey, how's it going, buddy? So, I mean, take for instance here, let me pop my notes back up here. I got, I wanted to see, I mean, these are ships are, yeah, I can load it up. Once William's done, I can load it up. I can try to find it real quick and have it ready. William's trying to load some stuff up now, so I don't want to interrupt that. Yeah, ancient Sumerian is an interesting subject.
Oh, come on.
Let's see if I can remember where I've got what file I've got this in. Oh, I need to do the news article on the giant grizz too. I've been forgetting to do that. I thought it was in my.
I got it halfway downloaded.
No worries. Show material.
This is the video I'm trying to load. Is it's called "The 10 Facts About the Bermuda Triangle," and it's a little over half loaded now.
Yep, found it.
But it probably won't work for me. Let's see.
Yeah, I wish there's a way I can, on my end, I could probably load it up.
Yeah, I went through and I did a search on Google, and I found this. It's like a not even a 3 minute video, but it talks about the 10 facts of the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm just curious as to what it's saying about the Bermuda Triangle. So, alrighty, I'll tell you what. In the meantime, let me see here.
I've got
You want,
I've
me to
got
do that
Gilgamesh's
either,
deal.
huh?
If you want me to pop that up, means they're wanting to see that. I can pop that up while you're still waiting.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
So this is the actual tomb and the remains of Gilgamesh. So that we were just talking about. And you can see how he's still in really good shape, which is interesting because mummification, even back then, a lot of mummies you find from that time frame are very, very decayed. He is not. He's still got his eyes, he's still got skin, he's still got his hair. He's very much still um, lifelike. And this is what's odd for finding a tomb that's as old as this. This is one of the oldest tombs in the world, and you're finding this right here, and that's Gilgamesh.
And that's probably because of his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this thing is
So,
not working very well.
well, yeah, because I mean, Gilgamesh is part Anunnaki. You know, he was 14 foot tall. In fact, one of the oldest Bigfoot style reports you'll find deals with Gilgamesh and Enlil. Enlil was created from the earth by a goddess. And if you listen to the description, he was as tall and stronger than Gilgamesh, but covered from head to toe in hair and lived with the animals. And he mated with women. That's how they were able to distract him. Was they brought in a what's a polite way of putting this on YouTube? A woman that does things for money and seduce him. But if you listen, he's 14 foot tall, covered in hair. It's a freaking Bigfoot.
A woman that does things for money. That's like well, let's
Yeah.
see. That could be a teller at a bank. That could be
I'm trying to
that
be
could be a
some.
seamstress. That could be a
I'm trying to be somewhat polite. It was ex-wife style type of woman. So,
uh, all right. Anyways, yeah. Hey,
yeah,
this
that
is
is one
pure
of the theories.
entertainment. I can't get the file. Yeah, I can't even get
Yeah.
this theory to come. This video to come up. Darn it! Come on.
Actually, Demos, that is one of the theories why his body is so preserved. The other one is that he is part, if I remember right, he's 3/4 Anunnaki, if memory serves me correctly. I can't remember on that one, Kyle. Yeah. Concubine is polite good, Raven. That's what I was trying. I was trying to come up with a good word. So yeah, concubine. Although a concubine is more related to the aristocrats, the rich people, mainly princes and kings. But yeah, concubine.
Not the
Yes, it
rich
is,
people, the
Richard.
rich cracker people.
There we go, Twisted. Lady of the evening. Yes. Lady of the evening that likes to fulfill men's desires. Yes.
I hate to tell you this, but if it's a lady of the evening, they ain't no lady.
No, no.
All right, let's see here. Add video clip. Yes, I want to
Yes.
add it, but we're in a
Gilgamesh is,
okay.
oh, sorry. Yes. Gilgamesh is Nimrod's father. Yes. I'm getting a kick out of these comments.
Are
Y'all are
you
great,
kidding me?
man.
All that and I got nothing to download? Come on.
You're welcome, Kyle. What? Let me see if I can look it up. What is it that you're trying to?
Wait a second. I might have it.
Okay.
Nope. Son of a gun. No item, sir. No item match. Come on now. I'm looking right at it. I just can't get the damn thing to. Let me see here. Oh, you will. All right. Let's see.
Well, the reason why it's an
I got
insult,
the
Freaky, is
video
because of what
downloaded onto
number.
the laptop, but it won't let me. It will not let me open it.
Will it let you send it via Messenger? Yes, Twisted. The Epic of Gilgamesh is very interesting, and there's so many things that we talk about as cryptids that is talked about in the Epics of Gilgamesh. A lot of stuff. I mean, mermaids are talked about in there. Like I said, I mean, look at his best friend. Was Bigfoot related? So many things are talked about by Gilgamesh in the Epics of Gilgamesh that's why I tell people all the time, man, read history. History is extremely important when we're trying to do this stuff. But some people take my warning, and some people don't. I mean, it is what it is.
It keeps telling me that there's no video to match. This is getting ridiculous.
So that is actually, that is one theory, Richard, that's kind of interesting. Atlantis was not an island. Atlantis was the planet. So the Athenians, which was a extremely intelligent, had technology out the wazoo that angered the gods and was destroyed, is the Athenians. And they did a lot of stuff too. But if you actually study the ancient Athenians and you study the Anunnaki, they're one and the same.
Let me see if I've got it. Come on. Load, damn it, load.
If you actually study the true ancient Athenian works, Kyle, Atlantis was not an island. Atlantis covered the world. And this is why you see so many ancient technologies that we thought they did not have. We're actually finding is because it's tied to the fact that the Atlantis was the planet and not the island. And if you actually study the Athenians and you study the Anunnaki, they're extremely, I mean, almost identical in their telling of the stories.
It's not letting me load it. Anyways, I'm just going to drop it and forget it.
All right.
I just found it very interesting. So let's see here.
Yes, exactly, Richard. And that's why I'm saying it's very similar, is because of that fact right there. Yes, Anu's. Anu was known as what we call God, where Enlil was what we call the devil. Enlil traveled the world against Anu's orders to teach humans how to build things. Hey, Lauren.
Now it's not showing it downloaded at all. Unbelievable.
I believe so, Kyle. I'd have to type it in to make sure. Read Plato to understand Atlantis. Yes, Plato describes it very well, and that's when you get to study in ancient Sumerian, you'll see that they're one and the same. Very well could be, Freaky. I can't say for sure, but that is a good theory. Obviously, a good theory. There was one
Try and
island,
drag it over.
what we call Atlantis. There was one island that was sunken, and I believe they were doing things that there was a huge war um, amongst the Athenians and another race. And there was an island that had a lot of technology upon it that was sunken. And this is where we believe the lost city of Atlantis comes from. Was this here during the wars of the Athenians and another race? I believe it was the human and Anunnaki mix with us. Rebelled against them, if I remember correctly. I have to research it again. It's been a little while, but I believe that's who it was, or something, another type of godlike race that warred with them. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe you actually study ancient Anunnaki. The Anunnaki tried to gene splice a lot of things, which is could be a reason why we have so many creatures that we have. And in the end, they took the creatures from the earth and mixed their DNA, the Anunnaki DNA, with them, which came to us. That's how we were created. Yeah. Yeah, they did, Richard. They absolutely did.
Yeah, I'm going to give up on this. Anyways, I wasted too much time with that.
I'll have to look at that.
All right, where are we at here?
Richard. We were talking about the different things tied to the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay. Lauren, good to see you in there. All right.
So if you actually look back, Roxanne, the oldest recordings of pyramids dates back to the Anunnaki and Enlil, who traveled the world using these portals, such as the Bermuda Triangle, to travel the world against Anu's wishes to teach mankind how to build buildings. And this is why, if you look at all the pyramids around the world, they're very similar, very, very similar. And this is where you get the pyramids, and the fact that they're tied to the different portals, like the Bermuda and like the others, is this here. This is all, you can actually see all this stuff in ancient Anunnaki.
Very, very true.
Yeah, no kidding, Richard. Plato is an interesting read. I've never been able to finish it. I need to, but Plato's works is very interesting. Plato was pretty spot on. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear my dad again, guys. I really don't. I don't think I'm going to be able to continue. I'm starting to get really, really out of it. So,
yes, Twisted. That's why I say they're very similar. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, if you can't finish, brother, I get it. We're almost at that hour mark. But there's a lot of interesting stuff dealing with these triangles, the Bermuda alone, and history. I mean, it's just, there's so much to it. There is just so much to it.
Hey guys, if you can, in the chat, just share this out. Like it as much as you can. Because physically I'm just not into it right now. I don't think I can go any further than an hour at the most. It's a struggle right now for me. That way I can at least come back on tomorrow with Eric. But I'm going to have to cut this short. I'm not right now to describe what I'm feeling right now. The whole room is just doing this, and I haven't eaten anything. I haven't even, this shows you how sick I am. I haven't even had a cup of coffee this morning. So that's bad, because you know me with coffee. I have to drink coffee in order to breathe and in order to eat. but I'm not feeling it right now, guys. So, I appreciate everybody being here. Um, Eric, why don't you go ahead and you can go ahead and describe what's going on with your show tonight and
Mhm.
or today, and then we'll go ahead and just close it out because I'm not feeling it.
All right, bro. Yeah, tonight is the show that I have that was created by the subscribers, which is called Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. This is a safe place for you to come and share your encounters, which I'm going to be talking about some strange stuff that had happen this last week. In fact, one of them happened last night before we went live when me and Ryan was backstage talking, and it freaked him out because he heard it as well. There's been a lot of weird things going on here this last week, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I give you guys a chance to share your encounters. If you want to come on live, I'll bring you on live. If you just want, most people want to talk about and chat, which I'm perfectly fine with that as well. Come and share your
Speak,
encounters. I welcome it, huh?
speaking of sharing encounters, I did say to everybody last night that I was going to share
Yep.
something that happened to me here, and I'll go over
Mm-hmm.
that after you're done here. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, I mean, come tonight, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time at the Bizarre and the Unknown on YouTube, and let's have fun. Let's talk about it. It's just a couple. It's just all of us sitting around a campfire telling our stories, man. That's what the show is. I always tell people this is the show of the viewers because the viewers are the ones who created that show. At one time, I was just doing one show only, and that was Sundays, which is what I'm going to be. I'm going to change my mind, and I'm doing Mermaid Sunday. Um, I felt a pull for doing mermaids. So we're going to talk about mermaids across time and across other civilizations. So, yeah, hope to see you tonight at 5 o'clock on the Bizarre and the Unknown.
Okay. Anyways, if you can, definitely, if you haven't subscribed to Eric's channel, I urge you to do that. And also, whatever Ryan's up to with his books and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that we talked about last night. He's doing a Wendigo book. I'm doing a Wendigo investigation here locally of a sighting, a recent sighting. So I've got to devote some energy to that. But a sighting that I had here, this will flip your wigs, everybody. This will really knock you out. The thing that I had to deal with, and that I asked Ryan for him to illustrate it for me, is I was by myself in the house here um, a little bit ago, and probably a couple weeks ago, and I had this overwhelming urge to look outside my living room window, and as I did, this entity proceeded to look in the window at me. It was broad daylight. Okay, there was nobody out there. Um, I made sure that um, I have like alarm systems and cameras and stuff set up, so I just I know what's going on around my property here, my home, and I happened to look out the window and staring in, looking at me, with a face probably twice as large in size as a regular human face, basically was staring back at me, was this red-haired. The only way I can describe him is, do you all know the story of the smiling man, the grinning man, in West
I've
Virginia?
heard,
Um,
I've heard a little bit about it.
yeah, it stared at me, but the way it stared at me was not human. It was not human in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know if it was even physical. It could have been supernatural, but this being, this entity, and I call it a being and an entity because I'm not sure of its physicality, was staring back at me. But the way it presented itself in the window was like it was on its side looking in. In other words, it was head and
Mm-hmm.
shoulders horizontally, okay, which is impossible. It's an impossibility, okay? You just don't float around like that. But it looked stared back at me, and it had this grin that would send chills down anybody's spine. But with me, I stood there and I just sat there on the couch and I stared at it, And this went on for about a minute and a half, okay? And I noticed that it wasn't acting aggressive. It wasn't, but I noticed it was dressed it had like a black coat on its chest. I could only see from like the chest up in the window. So I don't know how big it was or how tall it was, but the head of this thing was twice the size as a normal human being's head, okay? Had bright red hair and human features, just basically bigger human features. And the grin that it gave me and the feeling that it gave me was one of amazement. It wasn't fear. Because I don't have that in my body anymore after what I've been through. Um, it wasn't a fearful time, but it was just a creepy type of a feeling, of having this entity stare at me back through my own living room window. And you all know me. I see a lot of things. I spirit walk all the time. I'm constantly active, looking around at things, because I see things that others don't see. Um, and this being proceeded to tell me that he was what they call the controller. Okay, now I don't know for a fact if it was demonic or not. It very well could have been demonic. Um, the one thing about me though is I don't have that fear factor in me anymore. It's like all the medical stuff that I've been through, and with dying as many times as I have, I just don't have that part of me anymore. It's not part of me. So fear had nothing to do with seeing this. And I think that's why he was smiling at me, because he knew I didn't fear it. And I think that's why it told me its title. And its title, I'm not sure if it was its name or not, but its title, it called itself the controller. Now, you all know that I have been second guessing what's going on in our world, and I've been researching it a lot, to the point where I've pissed off a lot of three-letter and four-letter alphabet agencies around, enough to censor my reports to everybody. Um, but I didn't get a feeling that this was a government funded agency that was showing up outside my window, because it was too supernatural. Um, but the feeling I got was that I actually might have saw a fallen angel outside my window. I might have saw a watcher. And what's another word for a watcher but a controller? Okay, somebody that observes, somebody that is able to control and manipulate things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I honestly believe that it formed itself, and showed itself to me because it was at one time a divine being. Okay, I believe it was a watcher. I really do. One of the 200 fallen angels. And which one it was, I have no idea. But I have that feeling that that's what it was. And ever since then, I've been, my health has been gradually getting worse. And I have this funny feeling that it might have been the the fallen angel that is responsible for basically transferring the human soul to the afterlife. And I forget which name of the fallen angels that was, but there was. I know Ariel is the angel that brought um, what was his name, Asmael to to hell. So they kind of, it didn't freak me out. It didn't scare me in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, within that same time frame, that I've pretty much cracked a code about the Bible, and I'm keeping that to myself until I get more information. Um, and I'll reveal it eventually on a video that I'll release. But for those of you out there that think the Bible is a guidebook or a book of fiction, it is not a book of fiction. Its writings are more in depth than what we can comprehend. That's about the best description I can say about what I saw and what I've been experiencing. It's more supernatural around us than what we can see. This being is, I believe, was a fallen angel. Um, and what have I been pissing off a lot lately? But the fallen angels. I've been talking a lot about the Anunnaki and that kind of stuff, and you know how to combat the darkness um, around us. And they don't like it very much when you talk about them and how to defeat them, because they're the ones that are bringing a lot of this stuff, supernatural activity, to us. They're allowing it to come in. Them and CERN and several government agencies that I can't disclose right now, but I'm sure you all know which agencies are responsible for a lot of the crap that's going on right now supernaturally in our world. And the reason I say supernaturally is because I don't want to put the cryptids in with that. Yeah, Lauren, principalities. You are right. You're absolutely right. But what I saw was a warning. Okay, it was almost like a visitation to warn me not to go any further in my investigations and my research. Um, I don't scare, and I'm sure he knew that. That's why he was grinning at me. And the grin that he had reminded me of the story of the grinning man that was spotted in West Virginia by the I think it was a vacuum cleaner salesman that was driving home late one night after not getting any sales, and he saw a light in the sky, and then basically he got stopped in the middle of the road he was on, and the grinning man walked up to him, and I believe he was described wearing a black, like a what do they call those cowboys, slickers. It was a black slicker that he was wearing, and
Oh yeah, Duster. Yep.
yeah, duster, yeah, that's it. And anyways, he was wearing that kind of a coat, a long coat, and that's kind of what this being was wearing at the time that I saw it. And I only saw the top part of it, but I know darn well that there was more to it. And judging by the size of the head that I saw, supernaturally was shown to me. This being had to have been well over 12 feet tall.
Mm.
So,
Well, I
yeah,
mean, if
Kyle.
you actually study angels, I mean, the angels are known to be, depending on their ranking and their power, anywhere from 7 foot to 13 foot tall. So
Well, then,
that is definitely in that realm.
yeah. Anyways, Ryan, my little brother Ryan, that was on last night with us, is going to use his artistic skills to basically draw it. I described everything to him, and he's going to see about using his skills to get me a picture of, so I can show everybody what I saw, because it's something that I need to share with you all. These watchers, these controllers, and I'm using the controller word because that's the word that he described himself as. They are controllers of this world. And
Mhm.
that's why I know he was a fallen angel, because the ones that control this world currently are the fallen angels. They are the ones that do Lucifer's bidding. Um, so, you know, it was a warning to me not to side with Yahuwah, and this is the one word that they despise the most. And I'm going to type it in the chat. Okay. This is the
Yeah.
one word that they despise the most. Okay. That's the true name of God. Okay. When we
Yahweh.
pray, and I know that this is going to cause me some strife for it, but if Yahuwah can, if Jesus can take the lashes, so can I. Um, I don't want to jeopardize anybody, but it's it's one thing to see these things, but as much as I've been interacting with what I call that you guys call it the veil. I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it the veil. A lot of people are
Hmm.
talking about the veil and how the veil is thinning and how it's torn, and it's been ripped apart is what it has been. Okay, these
Hmm.
beings are coming. They're coming. Okay, and some of them are already here. They have been here. We just haven't been able to see them as much. And I'm hearing sounds outside my window. There's a window behind me. Okay. And what I did to soundproof it as best as I could is I put cardboard on the window, and I've got it all secured and stuff and insulated so I don't get that outside noise. But now I'm hearing, how you hear things like when people put their fingers on a table and they do this, or on a desk, and they do this with their fingers. I'm hearing that right now on the window, like telling me that he's there. Um,
Hmm.
but these
Well,
these fallen these fallen are here, and they're not happy when we talk about the supernatural. They're not happy when we disclose what they're up to. Um,
yeah.
the fallen are not the Sumerian, or not the results of the Anunnaki. This was not an Anunnaki that I saw at the window. The fallen are separate from that. Um, the Anunnaki are actually interstellar beings. Okay, they're beings from out there. Okay, um, they were demigodded by the people at the time, because they came here and they intermixed their DNA with a lot of the animal species. And that's why we see these animal species and human hybrids in the Egyptian artwork and the hieroglyphics in Egypt. A lot of the gator faces, the bird faces, um, the beetle
Jackal.
faces, the jackal. Yes, those were created by the Anunnaki. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
they are not supernatural. They are living, breathing beings. Okay, the Anunnaki are. Um, they are not the fallen angels. Okay, the fallen angels are supernatural. And at one time, the leader of the fallen angels was literally, um, God's right hand, his most beautiful creation. This being that I saw outside the window was not a beautiful creation by any way, shape, or form. It was distorted. It was almost grotesque. Um, it was not normal. It was not a normal being, that I saw. And the way that it communicated with me, it knew it could talk to me. So there's a battle coming, guys. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how else I could say it. This is probably the first and last time I'm going to talk about this. Um, but there is a battle coming that we may not be able to recognize. It's already happening. Um, I journal as much as I can, Twisted. So um, that's why I also record it on video when I. That's why I put it out on the channel too when I have these encounters. Um, but like I said, my health is beginning gradually worse. Um, so I don't know what's going to transpire from seeing this outside the window. Currently, we have the curtains closed on the window, which is fine with me, to tell you the truth. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that's what happened. Um, that this is not a joking matter at all. This is not a matter to take lightly. Um, we don't. I don't honestly. I don't think that these entities are able to be beaten by us. Um, it's the old saying, Kyle, when they talk about fighting fire with fire. That's literally what we're going to have to do. Um, these beings are if they wanted to harm us, they've had thousands of years to get rid of humanity. Um, they hate humanity. They despise humanity. Um, the only point in time when these watchers, these controllers, were ever inquisitive or anything about. Yeah, I know. Yeah, my wife Tracy's in the chat. She can describe that. I mean, I talked a little bit about that last night. I'm hearing the owl with my people. When we hear owls, um, it's a sign of death. Death is coming. Um, whether it's myself or somebody that I know, that when we hear the owl, it's a foretelling of an unfortunate accident or something is going to occur to cause death. Um, at this point in time, I welcome it. Um, I'm not worried about death at all. Um, was it the angel of death? It very well could have been. It very well could have been the angel of death. Sorry, Twisted. I know. I know how that feels because remember at the beginning of my talking right now, I said the whole everything was spinning. That's the way I feel. Um,
Mhm.
nausea is always a part of my life. Um, the supernatural. I think a lot of people got it wrong. I'm sorry to say this. I know I'm going to offend some people. I what I experience on a regular basis, supernatural wise, I've lived with. I've encountered most of my life, supernatural wise, beings, good and bad. I've seen in my childhood growing up where I grew up and in the house that I grew up in, I've seen the ghost of death. I've seen the Grim Reaper literally float out of our basement through our kitchen. It stopped and looked directly at me and my mother when I was a child, and
Mm.
I've 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 had interactions with the supernatural my whole life, so I am well aware of. This was the staring in at me at the window when I was on the couch was not physical, and I'm hoping that Ryan can actually get that drawn out for me or worked out for me on paper so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Um, for the supernatural to manifest itself to us is it's an energy level that we can't even fathom. Um, paranormal investigation teams around the world always talk about how their equipment gets drained. Why is our equipment draining? You're using the energy. You're using our energy. We feel drained because you're dealing with something dark. You're not dealing with ghosts, and that's why I think I'm going to piss off a lot of people. Okay. Um, you're not dealing with the normal ghosts that you think you're dealing with. You're not dealing with something that was human. Let's put it that way. They have a way of making themselves. They have a way of making themselves appear human. Um, whenever you crack open a Ouija board, and I've said this 100 times, um, stay away from them. You're not
Mhm.
talking to a spirit through the board. You're being coerced. You're being manipulated. There is so much that you all don't see And I know that there's people that call themselves psychic, and there's people that call themselves mediums and empaths and all this. That's fine. Call yourselves what you want, but what you're dealing with, you have no idea. All I can say is it's coming. There's going to be a time when you're all going to be seeing it, and it's frightening. Okay, it'll frighten a lot of people. Me, I'm cold. I'm cold because I of the upbringing I had and what I was part of in the military. I've had such a cold heart most of my life. I don't have that fear in me. Um, I really don't. But these things, they know how to manipulate normal human beings, normal people. They know how to stay within your shadows and manipulate you. They make you quick to anger. They know. Okay, they know. They call it the human factor. There's nothing to factor in. We have been dumbed down for a reason because at one time we had the ability to fight them and fend them off. Um, but the fallen have manipulated our kind for so long that they coerced um, people in prominent positions and prominent families to work with them. And you can't trust those families. They've mixed their bloodlines. So a lot of these families, and we know who these families are. We know who they are. I shouldn't have to say it. We know that it's the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. We know that it's the Obamas. We know that it's the Cheneys, and Halliburton is connected to them. Okay.
Schumer,
Um,
Soroses, Nohavari,
yeah,
Gates.
there's there's so many of these families. There's 100 of these families that have turned over themselves to these beings, and it's not going to be easy. We can. There are those among us that see these things and know we know how to fight them. We fought them our whole lives. Um, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of people out there that they're playing this psychic card, and these things want you to believe you're psychic. They want you to believe that you can do great things only so they can destroy you. That's what I was being told. Okay. So that one word that I put in the chat, from every bit of research that I've done on the Bible and, everything that I've done comes down to that one word. And they will even try to distort that. They, they're class A manipulators, everybody. They are. They are the best manipulators of human minds. You can't even fathom it. You think you're seeing and hearing what you're seeing and hearing? No, it's all them. So with that, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to go and I'm going to do some things to strengthen the reserve that I have. And like I said, I've got that one investigation I've got to complete. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and that's a supernatural entity too. So, I know I talk a lot about how sick I am. Um, but honestly, when I do these investigations and stuff into the supernatural, and I help out people when they're in need to be helped out with the supernatural problem, I feel strong or stronger, I should say. So there is a purpose for me to continue, I guess. That's probably why the creator's still keeping me here. So that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here, for listening to this crazy old Indian, um, and for putting up with a lot. You guys, we got to prepare ourselves. All right. If you do anything, remember what I said. Question everything because it's a mass manipulation. We're being played for fools. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. If you want to help out the channel, we have the super stickers and stuff like that. You want to help out Eric and his channel, please subscribe um, and help get the word out because you all think Bigfoot and the dogmen are the scary things in this world. They're not. They're mere pawns like we are. I can look you dead in the eye and tell you that. I know, Angelique. I know. These things aren't going to be easy to take care of. Um, ask Jessica. Ask Jessica Jones. Um, ask Ryan. These there's a difference between these things. And it's like I've always said, when you see red glowing eyes, you're not dealing with a cryptid. You're dealing with something very ancient and very old and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been, I guess, kept here for.
Well, you got to take care of me too, bro. We got a lot of knowledge to share together.
Yeah. But these things are just the only word that can describe them is supernatural. That's just it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can do to describe them. I mean, you have your typical cryptids out there. You do have your Bigfoot. You do have your dogmen. You do have your lizard beings, your reptilians, your Ozark howlers. You have those things, but those things are allowed to be here because they know that the more interactions you have with those physical phenomena around the world, the more ways they have to scare you. So, oh, thank you, Ida. Thank you very much, Ida. These,
Yes, thank you.
yeah, I can't talk anymore. I know when
All
I've
good,
talked
bro.
enough. So, okay. Eric, if you can go ahead and just close it out, let them know that,
Yeah.
and I'm going to stop my camera. I've got to do something here.
Yeah. So, guys, this was a very great show we had this morning, and I want to thank William for sharing what's been going on with him. And this coexists with a lot with what we talk about all the time. And so, I mean, we got to consider this when we're doing a lot of this stuff. Um, this is why this is important. Very, very. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button here. Um, so when we're on the closing, we need to consider this stuff when we're doing our research. We need to study our history. Don't go off just the King James Bible. Very, very important. King James Bible was created by King James and three cardinals, and it changed the words from the Torah. Read the Torah. Get into the Ethiopian Bible. Get into that ancient stuff, even if you don't agree with the Quran. The Quran is very informational when it comes to this type of stuff as well. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Come join me tonight on mine at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, and be ready for tomorrow morning for another Sunday morning brew show. And remember, don't ever take what we say for granted. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Do your own. Come up with your own opinion, your own theory, your own hypothesis, and then build upon ours or build your own. Like my good brother always says, think outside the box. So until tonight and until tomorrow morning, peace, love, and blessings, everyone. It's so great to
Yep.
see everybody in here.
Thank you guys
We
for
love
being
you very
here.
much.
Thank you guys for being here. That means a lot to me. And we'll see you all in the morning, okay, at 11 a.m.
We'll see you guys. So peace, love, and blessings, and good day, everybody.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome, my brother.